Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to remind all of you that we are having tonight's meeting on May 4th, Thursday evening, due to a lack of a quorum on May 2nd. Moving ahead to our consent agenda.
Approval of minutes from the April 18th, 2023 regular city commission meeting.
I make a motion, we approve our consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes have been approved. Moving into new business, we have a guest tonight to speak to us, Mr. Dan Foley, who is in charge of our River Summit. Oh,
He always bears gifts.
thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Ooh, fun stuff.
She's gonna grab it. And Chris.
Oh, I love it. Okay, thank you. A bell. These must have been the goodie bags.
Yes.
I love that.
Because we are on the nation's largest connected paved trail network, we got bike bells.
I love it.
And we also have at the bag, great Miami Riverway Cup and then just some stickers. So I came for a couple reasons. One, so my name is Dan Foley. I'm the director of the Great Miami Riverway, based in Dayton. The Riverway, as the commissioners know and the mayor knows, partners with the city of Piqua and communities from Sydney to Hamilton to really foster economic growth up and down the river corridor. We're a program of the Miami Conservancy District. MCD's main mission, as you know, is flood control, to make sure that our communities never experience what we experienced in 1913 when we had the Great Flood. And every day the people in the building that I work at work really hard to maintain the 5 dams and the 55 miles of levees. Oh, thank you. To keep our communities safe from flooding. But MCD is also really supportive of economic growth along our rivers. And so I'm here today to thank the city for continuing to partner with the Riverway as you have from the very beginning. I know Commissioner Hines was, when you were mayor, you helped to start this, and now Mayor Pearson and the rest of council has supported this. But we're here to thank you for that because I think and I'm biased, but I think we're really in exciting times when it comes to riverfront development. I'm also here specifically to express how excited we are about the agenda item tonight to further support the development of Loch Nine Park with more than $5 million of investment from the city. A few weeks ago, Mayor Pearson joined us for the Great Miami Riverway Summit, as she mentioned, in Sydney. That event allowed us to celebrate the millions of dollars of public investment, public and private investment that has occurred over the past 10 to 20 years in all of our Riverway communities. And many times, I think it's relevant to tonight's discussion, many times public investment leverages millions of dollars of private investment. I had the chance to grab a beer at Crooked Handle the other day. I have a really tough job. But I was at Crooked Handle, and I had a beer there, and Chris told me that I think the gentleman in the back row is from great job. Well done, by the way. But I had the chance to grab a beer there, and I was sitting outside on the river, and I was looking at the river, and I just thought, this is the kind of development that every one of our Riverway communities is working hard to attract. So here you have the city investing in a beautiful riverfront park with Loch Nine, and that investment, I know that investment's not easy because you have a lot of competing priorities, whether it's public safety, whether it's quality of life, and so you have to make difficult decisions for your time, attention, and money. But that public investment in Loch Nine, I think, gives confidence to investments like Crooked Handle to happen. Yes. And we see that over and over again in all of our Riverway communities, and the communities that prioritize some form of public space investment, in my opinion, see millions of dollars of investment that follow that. I just want to make one point, and Mayor Pearson heard this at the Riverway Summit, but another example of that is we celebrated the fact that Butler County Commissioners gave us $2.5 million late last year to fill in the gap on the Great Miami River Trail between Middletown and Hamilton, right? And so now you can get on your bike in downtown Piqua, and you can ride all the way to Fairfield. And so I really want to say this because I know one of the things, Chris is helping on this, but at some point, I think you're going to see a day where you can hop on your bike in Sydney, come to Piqua, go all the way down, and I think we're not too darn far from being able to say to people that you could ride 50 miles a day on your bike, always have a place to stay, always have a place to get a meal, and you could do this big loop in Southwest Ohio. So I say that because that's another example of public investment that can leverage economic development in so many ways. Piqua is already seeing tremendous investment along the Riverway, and that's taken a lot of work by you, by council, by staff, but I believe, and I'm not just saying this because it's my job to be a cheerleader for development on the river, but I believe that Piqua is going to see millions of dollars of new investment in the years to come on the riverfront and in downtown because of your leadership to prioritize the Lock 9 project. Much credit, I think, goes to your staff. I'm not saying this because I'm here either, but people tell me that they really like working with Piqua and your staff. I know Chris Schmiesing and Kirsten and Paul and everyone work hard at promoting the community. I have two recent examples, and I want to share it with you because I think sometimes we don't pat ourselves in the back so much, but I spent a good amount of my time trying to get developers interested in community projects on the river. And so I had a developer tell me unsolicited about 2 weeks ago, he said, there's not a week that goes by, and he said in quotes, lately this is daily, that Chris Schmiesing isn't communicating a new idea or a strategic approach to the health of Piqua, its downtown, and the river. They're always good thoughts, and they're always highly strategic. I know Chris works really hard, and I just want to say that because when that was an unsolicited email, and I wanted to find the time to share that. And again, unsolicited, as recently as last week, an investor told me specifically that in her opinion, both Piqua and Sydney in the northern part of the Riverway are particularly primed for more and more investment, new housing, repurposed downtown buildings, both on and off the river. I say that because sometimes when we do the work in our own communities, it's hard to kind of put yourself out of that, but I think people are talking about what you're doing here, and I think people are excited, and I think it's going to pay off long term. Two last items before I step off. On Sunday, September 10th, we'll be holding the Great Miami Riverway Half Marathon here in Piqua. We'll start in Troy. Can't Stop Running from Piqua is going to be in charge of that race, and we're going to end it at Crooked Handle. And Kirsten French told us that the new bridge will be done by then, so we don't have to swim across the river. So that's good. I'm not a good swimmer. And lastly, we're also excited that Mayor Pearson mentioned this last week, I think, at the last commission meeting. The 2024 Riverway Summit will be held here in Piqua on Friday, April 19th at the Fort Piqua Plaza. We'll have developers, elected officials, economic development folks from each one of our Riverway communities who will get a chance to see for themselves all the good that's happening here and all the good that you've done. I'll end on this. There are many rivers in the country. I think there's over 250,000 rivers in the United States. But there are not many rivers in the country that have 11 unique, thriving communities that dot the banks of that river. And that, in our case, is connected by Ohio's first national water trail and the nation's largest network of connected paved trails, not to mention the fact that we've got 2,500 manufacturing companies that exist in the Riverway footprint, meaning that the better we can make our communities, our downtowns, our riverfront, in my opinion, the more likely we are to keep those companies, but also attract new companies as well. But I just wanted to say thanks for the work. We love the Lock 9 project. We hope it receives support, and I'm excited about Piqua's future and also the future of the Great Miami Riverway, and we're thankful for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. We appreciate your comments, and you're absolutely right. Can't say enough about this project and what it means to the city of Piqua. And we appreciate you for speaking. Thank you. moving on to an ordinance number O-4-23, emergency.
An emergency ordinance to amend ordinance O-18-22 for amendment of appropriations for the city of Piqua for the year 2023.
Good evening, Mayor Pearson and City Commissioners. We are required to present and pass the amended 2023 annual budget reappropriation. This is due in part to projects that change after presenting the annual operating and capital budget last year. Supplemental reappropriation allows us to more accurately reflect these changes in our financial statements and project amendments. We request waiving the second and third reading of this amended appropriation and immediate passage tonight to meet deadlines and maintain dates for grant funding sources that are already also included in these appropriations. Please see the exhibit for detailed explanation of the changes in appropriation from the original. But in short, we are moving $300,000 back to the general fund from property purchases that is no longer taking place. And we are adding a $750,000 transfer to the Parks Fund.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from commissioners?
I have one. Where's the $700,000 coming from?
That will be coming from the general fund.
So we have the money in the general fund that we're able to move that from the general fund to the parks budget.
That is correct. This is just an appropriation moval.
Are there any other questions or comments?
I would offer another comment as I'm the newbie on the commission and I accept the responsibility of that, but I do not feel like I have an operating knowledge of the city's current financial situation. And I have asked for a review of that. So I'm struggling with finding $700,000 that we can move on an emergency basis.
Okay. Are there any comments from our citizens? Hi, Debbie.
Debbie Stein, 1810 Carroll Drive. My first question is, why is this an emergency ordinance? Why are you suspending the three reading rule on emergency ordinances? Isn't that for the safety, welfare, community? What makes this an emergency ordinance?
Paul, do you want to answer?
Correct. This is public comment, but I'd be happy to answer that. It's considered an emergency because we waived the second and third reading to meet the obligations of the grant funding. And if we don't initiate the contract expeditiously, then we'll miss out on that $2.1 million of overall funding.
Then, may I ask how you didn't know prior that this was going to be an emergency? This just didn't pop up overnight.
I'm not going
Why
to.
is it in the three reading rule?
I just explained that to you and said that we're up against the wire to meet deadlines of grant funding, and the community would be giving back $2 million+ of funding that we will not have.
The microphone.
My question was, why wasn't this done as first reading several months ago? So that-
Because I'm not going to go through a whole dialogue and back and forth. That's not this meeting. I'd be happy to schedule a meeting with you.
Well, I understand government functions, just so we can clarify that.
Yeah.
I do understand how it works.
Right. So you can enjoy your comment period and then schedule an appointment with me. Thank you.
Now, I won't schedule an appointment with you, but, my next question is, what about Hans Pavilion? And what are we going to do with that? What about our other parks?
He needs to hold.
Why can't we do some amenities with our other park systems? You can't hear me? I'm pretty loud.
I know, but it's not picking up, so I apologize.
Okay, so when you,
I know.
let me just go back. So when you take the $700,000, which, thank you, Mr. Vetter, for doing your due diligence, what does that take our fund balance down to as of when this happens? What, our
As
general,
of-
our general fund balance?
Yeah, as of the end of March, and this is unofficial financial statements because they haven't been documented yet, but the general fund balance, including cash and investments at the end of March, is $6.7 million.
$6.7 million?
Correct.
Okay. Next question, what about the swimming pool for our youth? Well, what,
That was prioritized. All these things you're talking about, Hans Pavilion, all these things are prioritized
But
on the
everyone
plan.
wants to
Excuse me,
know.
we learned, you were letting you talk and you're asking a question.
Okay.
Do you want to answer or do you want to talk?
I certainly would like.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm just saying that things are prioritized and the city and the commission and citizens get a chance to prioritize what is important, where the money goes and what's going to happen with it. So I don't know where it is, but there is a plan. Is there a plan out there for?
Yeah, I mean, the swimming pool, Hans Pavilion, they're all on our CIP.
Yes.
So if you get on the web, the document's been on there since we initiated the new website. Everything is ranked accordingly and either shows the funding in this year or not.
I mean, could you tell us, do you have an idea?
I'm not going to go, that's not the point of this meeting this evening. If you'd like to talk to me about parks projects, I'd be happy to meet with you.
Okay. You know, the whole thing, I am for this project. I'm worried about our fund balance, and my main purpose is, you know, to be open and to be honest, to give true reporting. That's my reason that I'm here and that I'm speaking up. And I know a lot of other citizens are concerned as well. And I'm sure you've heard as well. There's concerns. So I'm not asking that this be a battle. I'm not trying to be confrontational. What I'm trying to do is just get answers for our community because our citizens want to know. And I feel like we can't get answers or we get some sort of attitude associated with it, and it's not fair. And not as commissioners, I'm not faulting you as commissioners, but when we ask questions, many times there aren't answers, there's nothing clear, or just go look for yourself. That's how we feel, and that's exactly how I feel this evening.
We're always available to ask questions.
And I do my share.
The public has every
I do my
opportunity.
share, and my concern is, yes, we have a country club. Yes, we have Tecumseh Woods, and they're wonderful. And we may get a splash pad. I'm not certain what phase the splash pad is in. My concern is that there are things for our kids to do, and that the other parks get some of those amenities as well. Just making sure the funding is available.
Thank you for your comments.
your
We
concern.
appreciate it. Thank
And
you.
we're right there with you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Lorna Swisher, Executive Director of Main Street Piqua. I want to kind of follow up on what Dan Foley said. He talked about the possible new investment that could happen as a result of the investment that we could potentially make in Loch Nine Park. But I want to talk a little bit about the investment that has already been made in our community, and specifically in the area directly around Loch Nine Park. Of course, Crooked Handle is right there. We see it every day when we drive through the downtown area. Their investment is significant in our community.
Yes.
But I want us to also take a little bit broader look. If you remember 2 years ago, Lucky's made a significant investment in the facade of their building, taking it from what, quite frankly, was an ugly building to an absolutely gorgeous building. And that was a huge investment in the riverfront area. Of course, Lemon Meringue recently opened up in that area, and the Finkus family, between Betsy and the Finkuses, that was a significant investment. The Risers, of course, have made huge investment, most recently in their corporate office and their roastery, but prior to that, and not that long ago, was the store and the factory on Spring Street within a really good throws distance from Loch Nine Park. Of course, there's the building directly opposite Loch Nine Park that Keith and his family have put a lot of money into, which is significant. So many new stores, of course, have opened up in the downtown area. The Birch Tree, Lemon Meringue, Bushel and a Peck, And of course, referees getting their brand new patio being poured literally today as we speak. They're out there. And again, Crooked Handle. So we've already seen a significant investment, and we know that a lot of that investment was made because we believed in 2016, when the Lock 9 Park project was made a priority in our community, that all of this was coming. So I just want to remind you, yes, we're going to get more investment. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But there's already been significant investment made in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Lorna.
Thanks,
We
Lorna.
appreciate your comments.
You know, and if I could just say something, because I've been on the commission since 2016 when all of this started. I mean, this has been something that we have been talking about, we have been dreaming about. And, you know, the fact that Crooked Handle jumped on our dream was wonderful. The fact that other people, I know, because in my position when I was mayor, but also as a commissioner, and I know that Mayor Pearson and our other commissioners as well, many times we are in meetings with people who are looking at the city and are interested in making investment, but a lot of that investment has its focus on what's happening with Lock 9 Park. Once we build that and get it going, there are other people we know who are interested, who are knocking on our door. And we're thankful that our family of Crooked Handle, because you guys are family, you live here in our community, thank you, but you truly are family here, that you all believed enough before we even began to move that forward. But it's exciting. Change is tough. And, you know, as a city, and we've said this over and over and over again, we need to brand ourselves as to who we are. We need to be a destination. And Down a River, Down a Beer has been a great example of one of the events that we have that has brought people from all over our area, not even just our community down here. The half marathon's another great example. It brings people here. And, you know, and I know, you know, we've talked about this for so long, but this is so important for the movement of this city forward. And with this, we will get the restaurants we ask for. We will get more shops. We already have more shops on Main Street than we had a year ago. Think about it. And they will come. I mean, I think, you know, what Dan said was so right. And we get so focused on our community that we forget to look at the wider picture. So I don't know. I've been passionate about this project from the get-go. You know, it's taken so long, but I am so excited that we're here today to begin to move this forward. So thank you, Lorna.
I guess
Yeah.
to piggyback a little bit was, I had apprehension about this project because I didn't look at the big picture. I didn't look at it back when the bike path was being formulated either. And I'm like, and now I'm on the bike path, I ride the bike path, enjoy the bike path. But some of the frustration I had with this project was that we put this thing out to bid a couple times and nobody bid on it. And I'm like, really? I mean, but we know the significant amount of investment that has already taken place. And we do believe, and I do believe, that there's going to be more investment coming, which makes this appropriation worth it in the long run, in the big picture, in the big scheme of things. We do have to be a destination place. This was set up before I got on the commission, and it has been a consistent theme, and getting to the very end of it, it is a goal, and I'd like to see that come to fruition. And I think the plans that are in place will get us to where we need to be. I mean, we've got people building apartment buildings down across the river because of this. So a lot of stuff's going on. Like I said, I didn't see the big picture at first. You know, I thought money should go to a new fire truck. I still believe we need to get our own fire truck. I truly believe that, and we need to work on that. But I think if we can complete this project and more dollars come into the city, we can get some of the other things that we're looking for as well. So, I mean, that's just my opinion of it.
Well, I'm sure that it's going to be the future of Piqua. We're going to grow. There's so much good happening right now that we just got to keep moving.
My name is Jim Burkhardt. I'm a beer guy, as you may or may not know.
Yes, you are.
Talked about down the road down a beer, and I want to express the support for Crooked Handle. They made a big commitment.
They did.
One couple moved to town.
Yep.
Chris and I talked about Lock 9 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Yep.
And so I know that when Mr. Oberdorfer came to town, that was one of his priorities, was to get Lock 9 done. And so Crooked Handle made a commitment to town. They moved to town. I think it's time for the city of Piqua to honor the commitment to Crooked Handle and progress with Lock 9 Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Anyone else have a comment?
Kathy Sherman, 2325 Whitetail. One of the big things, and we talked about Crooked Handle and how much of their investment. It's so amazing to go into Crooked Handle, and as a lifetimer in the city of Piqua, as well as another friend of mine who has walked in there twice on a Saturday, 2 different times, afternoon and evening, and he said, Kathy, I hardly knew anyone in there. We have so many outside visitors coming to our community already
Just for that
because of
purpose.
one wonderful company and brewery here in town who has committed so much to our city. Please don't let them down. Don't let the monies for the grant monies walk away from us. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would do without that money. Don't let the naysayers who, when Paul and I sat down for our first time after he came here 2+ years ago, when he asked me about Lock 9, and I said 90+% of our community will look at me and say, if you ask me about the project, I'll never see it in my lifetime. Please let those naysayers look at us now and say, you did it, it's fabulous, and look at what our community, what we've grown to, who comes to our community, who wants to come to our community. Maybe our downtown is completely full because of that, because of the hard work of Lorna and Main Street. It'd be fantastic. So please, I'm asking you for the support, and let's watch the downtown and our whole community grow from this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Kathy.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. Jeff Lang, 9586 North State Route 66, Director of PAL, Protecting Our Waterways, your local cleanup crew for your local waters.
Thank you.
I also want to express my deep thanks to Crooked Handle for being here. Thank you for being on Main Street, on our downtown section. You have really lightened up the mood of Piqua with all the people here as far as having a place to go. And as Kathy just said, people you don't even know, but you're meeting new friends at your location all the time. We appreciate that very much. To the commissioners, to the department heads, to Paul, thank you guys for holding the course and seeing this come in and finish it off with Block 9 development. For someone that's really passionate about this river, really passionate, and Dan, it's also a National Water Trails designation. You forgot that one. I had to bring that up. I'm very proud of all of our designations. Okay? Very proud of our river, and what better view than to sit at Crooked Handle when Lock 9 gets done. You can sit out on that bank and look upriver and look downriver, and there is no prettier view in Piqua. So thank you all very much. Hold the course to see it through. August 5th for DARDAB, throw that plug in. July 15th for Protecting Our Waterways, the Clean Sweep the Great Miami River. Go to cleansweepthegreatmiamiriver.org or protectingourwaterways.org to learn how to sign up and help us lug trash out of the river. This will be our 20th year. Also, thanks to Crooked Handle for hosting our volunteer party after 20 years of doing this, right before the sweep, but it's the day before. They'll be all right the next day.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Thank
that
you
might
guys
not
for
work too
hosting
well.
us. We appreciate you very much. Thank you all.
all right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well said.
Your Honor, as a procedural issue, I want to make some facts known. To waive the 3 reading rule, all of you have to vote to waive it tonight because there's only 4 of you and there's 70, it takes 75% of the commission. Once that's presented, if you all decide to waive it, then you can vote also. And if you want to vote to turn it down or not, you'll have that opportunity. But to present it, you all four have to vote for it tonight, to waive the 3 reading rule.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 reading rule.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Could we have a roll call?
Vice Mayor Lee,
Aye.
Hines.
Aye.
Commissioner Hines,
Aye.
Commissioner Vetter,
No.
Mayor Pearson.
Aye. So
So this will stand as our first reading?
yes.
Yes, it will remain as first reading tonight. And I believe Resolution 64-23 would be tabled, would have to be tabled.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Does this count as the first reading?
It does count as the first reading, yes.
Okay, great. So this will be moved to the next meeting and read again.
That's correct.
Thank you. All right. So at this time, we'll move on to resolution number R-63-23.
A resolution of appreciation for the public service of Thomas M. Steiner as a city employee.
Tom Steiner has retired as a deputy chief in the police department with the city of Piqua. His retirement follows 30 years of faithful and dedicated service to the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of the City of Piqua, Miami County, Ohio, all members elected hereto concurring that in recognition and appreciation of the public service of Thomas Steiner as an employee of the City of Piqua, this commission tenders its unanimous and respectful tribute by this resolution, which shall be a matter of public and permanent record. This resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period followed by law. Cindy Pearson.
I just want to say that I got the opportunity to work with Tom Steiner my entire career at the Piqua Police Department. You'll meet no finer police officer. Class act, very easygoing. Had a lot of fun when he was on the street as a patrolman. He was my lieutenant at one point in time, and I got a good story that I tell in the academy about how you should never run with a taser and try and point it at somebody that's running from you. Doesn't work too well. And Tom's living proof of that. But he's a great deputy chief and a good man, and the police department's gonna miss him, but I wish him nothing but the best and a happy life. So,
Could I get a resolution or a motion to adopt resolution?
So moved.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And
Make a
resolution,
motion to table this resolution number R-64-23
okay,
until the next meeting.
all right. So is there a second?
A second, yes.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution R-64-23 has been tabled till the next meeting. Resolution number R-65-23.
A resolution to adopt a city facility honorary naming policy.
Commission, this item is brought before you at the request of Commission. We have put together the policy per the direction given and provided the Planning Commission this information. They've held a public hearing to consider the item and provided some input on the draft policy. With that, some adjustments were made, and the final document is being presented to you this evening for your approval. The policy in simple terms says that if there's an interest in naming placing an honorary name on a public facility, that request could be presented to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission would determine if it has merit, and if it does, they would then ask all city boards, advisory boards, park boards, diversity committee, so on and so forth, for input on that request, and then that information would be presented to the Planning Commission for a public hearing discussion, at which time they would make a recommendation to City Commission for the name request that's being presented. And then the City Commission, of course, would hold the ultimate responsibility or authority to be able to approve or disapprove of the honorary name that's being requested. This puts in place a policy that we've been lacking for some time. When these discussions come up, it provides some structure to the process so that we understand how to receive and process these kind of requests.
So this takes place after, in 2007, when it was originally, the concept of the naming streets and facilities was first brought up.
Yes.
And the diversity committee would get the chance to recommend, but we had no formal process in place, correct?
That is my understanding, yes.
How long has this policy been in discussion and development?
It's probably been a couple, 3 months when it was first suggested. Staff has done a little legwork on it, done some research in other communities to see what other policies and examples are out there. Looked at that information then to formulate what seemed like it would work best for Piqua with reference to the way our structure, our committees are structured and the Planning Commission's role in those kind of discussions. So it's been at least 3 months.
Tonight is the first time I've seen it, and I'm questioning whether the public has had an opportunity to see the policy, respond to the policy, and I'm troubled by that. I guess I'm asked to vote on something tonight that I've only seen about 2 hours earlier, so I express my concern for that.
I would share with you, it was presented to the Planning Commission. It was on their agenda this previous month, so it's had public input and it's went through the ordinary process. Yeah.
I would move that Resolution R-65-23 be tabled for more discussion.
Is there a second? There is no second, so this resolution
Dies for
is
lack of a
not
second.
being tabled. So
Do we have public input?
Do we have any public input on this?
I have a question for Chris Schmeezing. If I wanted to rename a street, the process would be to go to whom first?
So the Planning Commission staff support comes through the Development Department. So the application process would start in the Development Department. So they would submit an application there, and then we would facilitate the process.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Are there any comments from our citizens? Okay. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
This motion carried. Resolution number R-66-23.
A resolution authorizing a purchase order to Pavement Technology for a portion of the 2023 Pavement Preservation Program.
Thank you. Commission, this item is related to our pavement preservation program for 2023. It's one part of the program. This particular resolution for Pavement Technologies would be through the state cooperative bid process, which we presented to the commission at the last meeting and sought your authorization to participate in. The item before you is for the rejuvenation part of the program, which means there's streets that have been paved in relatively recent years, and by applying a product on there that is a rejuvenator that enhances the qualities of the bitumens and the asphalt makeup, it actually allows for the pavement life cycle to be extended fairly significantly, upwards of 5 to 10 years. So this is a low-cost way for us to be able to extend the life of the pavement when we invest in milling and resurfacing and put new pavement down. This gives us a greater return on investment when we make those improvements. So this would be the first of 2 items this evening. The third would be resurfacing, which we'll talk about at the next meeting after we receive bids back. But the first item, as I mentioned, is for the rejuvenator portion of the pavement preservation program. Up on the screen there is a map of the streets that have been identified for the 2023 pavement preservation plan. As I noted, there's really 3 components. One is the rejuvenation of the pavement surfaces that are relatively new, and the life can be extended with a relatively inexpensive application of the rejuvenator. The other component that we're going to talk about here in a minute is for chip sealing and microsurfacing, which is it's referred to as Cape Seal application. And that is where the pavement's a little bit beyond utilization of a rejuvenator, but doesn't need to be milled off and resurfaced. So there's a lighter weight application, i.e. the Cape Seal, that can be applied, which will extend the pavement life for a significant period of time and allow us to get a greater return on investment on the pavement that's already been installed. And then the third item is what I mentioned a minute ago, the resurfacing component of the program, which is not in your packet this evening. We open bids for that element next week, and we'll bring that to commission at a subsequent meeting. But that would be the remainder of the streets. There's also some crack sealing that would be performed as part of the next agenda item. So a few of the streets listed there would be for crack sealing purposes. In addition to that, not part of what's being presented to you this evening, I think it's just important to note that the street department, through their ordinary work plan, would be milling and patching distressed areas of pavement on other streets that are programmed for 2024, 25, or 26 upcoming years. And that's in anticipation of those streets being next in the pavement preservation program with regard to their pavement rating so far as the condition of the pavement there. They're also planning to pave some of the worst alleys in the community, along with doing some additional overlays in 2025. You might notice from the map that we've really set this up to kind of target a particular area. And so in addition to the pavement preservation treatment, you would have street signs would be replaced if they're due to be replaced, or a signpost would be straightened. The trees along the curb line would be trimmed. And then ultimately, as we get things moving on the sidewalk program, we would do the sidewalk program through those same neighborhoods. So when we walk away from it, the entire neighborhood would, the curb appeal would be restored, and it'd be in good shape for the next 10 to 15, 20 years.
A question about the street signs. Are they smaller than what's currently up, or are they the same size?
So the signs would be replaced per the OMTC D standards. Street name signs, I think we have a standard that we've adopted and that it's being implemented. And it is per the specifications that we're required to follow.
Can you tell me if how different is that than what we currently have?
I want to say they're a 6-inch height by 30 to 36-inch long blade.
Thank you.
Which is the standard that is appropriate for the speed of the streets.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from commission? Any other comments? Do our citizens have any comments?
Debbie, the microphone.
So the area is predominantly the Candlewood neighborhood, the southwest corner of the community from Gordon to McKinley and south to Manier is kind of the focus area, along with Candlewood. And then there's a stretch of Main Street and I think Washington Avenue and Wood Street, I think are the other outliers.
Oh, Wood Street is on it.
Yeah, and so if you go to the city website, bottom of the homepage, there's an icon that says GIS. If you click on that, it takes you right to the map. You can click on any of those streets and it tells you which application will be received.
Great, thank you.
Any other comments? All right, at this time, I'd like to move to adopt resolution number R-63-23.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution R-66-23 is approved. Resolution number R-6723.
A resolution authorizing a purchase order to Strasser Construction Incorporated for a portion of the 2023 pavement preservation program.
Thank you. This is the next item that I was referring to, which would also be utilizing the ODOT cooperative bidding process, cooperative bidding process. And the elements of work that would be authorized here include the crack sealing and the cape seal process, which is the microsurfacing and the chip and seal application. And the contract amount for this portion is $653,000 with contingency included. All total, we have $1.6 million in, budgeted for resurfacing, pavement preservation type work this year. So the first piece was the $68,000. This is $635,000. And then we anticipate the resurfacing, milling and resurfacing will be about $730,000. There's also a component that is concrete work at the radius at the intersections so that we can update curb ramps and meet the ADA requirements. That's about a $200,000 piece of the 1.6.
Thank you. Are there any comments from commissioners? Any comments from our citizens? Okay. I would entertain a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution R-6723 has been adopted.
Mayor Pearson, I would like to make a motion. I am extremely sensitive to this Lock 9 project. As you know, I am extremely passionate about this Lock 9 project. And I know that our funding, our grant funding, correct me if I'm wrong, we could lose this grant funding if we do not move forward, correct?
It puts it at risk.
It puts it at risk. I'm also noticing that this company that is going to be our construction manager has many local folk in it, and that makes me extremely excited as we have people who love our town. Hayden Shrub, oh my gosh, I confirmed that young man many years ago. But it's exciting because it's not just somebody from coming away to do this. These are people who are the people we know, people we live with, people who were born and raised in this community. So I would like to make a motion that we hold another meeting on Monday, May 8th at 6 p.m. to continue to discuss ordinance 4-23 because the grant funding is on the line somewhat, and also we need to get things moving for Lock 9. And so I would like to make a motion, and if anybody wants to second it.
Commissioner,
Yes.
can I interrupt?
Yes, please do.
It's a procedural issue. If you are calling for a special meeting, you need to specifically state, I would move for a special meeting for whatever date you wish, and to discuss items, and I'm sure that the two
Yes.
items you want to discuss are ordinance number 4-23 and also resolution R-64-23.
So you said it in the legalese way that I should have said it, correct?
Correct.
Correct,
And
okay.
And you cannot discuss anything else at that meeting
Yes.
except those items.
Okay, so I make a motion that we will hold another meeting on
Special
Monday.
meeting.
A special meeting on Monday, May 8th at 6 p.m.
discuss.
to discuss ordinance 423 and resolution R-64-23.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That Motion is carried. Thank you. So I'll come back, okay? Monday, May 8th at 6 PM. All right. At this time, we will have public comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city commission regarding agenda items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the city manager's office. Public comment.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Andrew Hillscamp, lifelong Pickler resident. Jeremy Sonberger, same.
Hi, Jeremy.
We're actually up here in two capacities tonight. One is, as you mentioned, we went through the process of being selected as the construction management firm for the Lock 9 Park. We are super excited about that. And I can give you a little background. Some of you know how that started. We were made aware that the park was going out to bid for general contractors a couple years ago. We looked at it. As most of you know, when you have a public bid project, a contractor like us sits down, opens up the plans, throws some rough numbers down and say, is it plausible? Is the dollar amount of this project meet the budget that the city has set forth? With a quick glance out of it, we realized, hey, it's not gonna go, you know? The cost of this project is gonna be over the money the city's willing to put forth for it. So we tabled it on our end. City didn't receive any bids. It came around once again. We got deeper into it and said, all right, let's really dig into this thing and see what kind of value's here and see if we can get it to that budget that the city has set aside for it. So we dug into it even deeper. We put it out to bid to our subcontractors, got some good hard numbers in, and we realized right before it was bid time, we're way over budget on this thing. So we went, talked to Chris and talked to Paul about the possibility of doing a CM bid. A CM's a lot different than a general contractor bid. So with a CM bid, we work as an advisor to the city to work out the best price for the subcontractors. So with a hard competitive bid, we bring all those numbers in, present them, and you vote on one big lump sum number. With the CM bid, we have the ability to piece it out and to look at multiple contractors and negotiate with contractors on the city's behalf to make sure the city's getting the best value. That's why all schools are CM. The water treatment plant was likely a CM project. Most large projects are a CM because the municipalities get the best bang for their buck. So we're super excited about being selected and being involved with this project. The other capacity that we are here for is Jeremy and I actually own the building across the street from the park. And that's why we initially wanted to get, see the park, come through for us. We bought the property. We actually signed a contract in February of 2020. Nobody knew what the word COVID was at the time. We signed a contract. 30 days later,
Yep.
COVID was everywhere. We looked at each other and said, what did we just do? So we met with Chris. Chris walked us around downtown, told us about the park project, showed us some of the other buildings, and really promoted the area to us. We had the opportunity at that point in time to back out on our contract or go through with it. We made the decision to go through with it. So since 2020, when we closed on that building, we've put upwards of $250,000 investment into that property today. Now, our commitment is, if the park project goes through, we're willing to put another $250,000 into that building. Right now, we have about 4,000 square feet of leasable space that we can't do anything with until we get some development across the street. That property has zero appeal until we get something put forth across the street. So it's very important to us as businessmen in the community of getting this park project. Not only that project, we are open to investment throughout the downtown. We're always looking at additional opportunity, and we have sat down, talked about it, looked at some other properties, and if you guys see this project through, if the commission votes to push this through, I assure you, we will make additional investment in the downtown community in the future, and the additional investment will be more than what you're requesting or removing from the general fund for the project.
I also think it's worth noting we're a prime example of the investment that's already been made. I know it's been discussed tonight, but there has been investment made but ours is a prime example of a continued investment willing to be pledged. I mean, the city commits and then that project gets done. I think building's a perfect example of finishing and adding, you know, additional funds
Absolutely.
there, but I think you're gonna see it across the community. I think removing a small portion from the general fund is going to be received in you know,
Overwhelming.
exponentially.
Yeah.
The return will be exponential.
You know, and it's wonderful to see, we have investors that are from outside our city, but to see our local folks, which is what we have been looking for, stepping forward and doing that, thank you very much. It's nice to hear that, so thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We
Thanks for the
appreciate your
opportunity.
comments. Thank you very much.
Lorna Swisher, Main Street, Piqua. Next Friday night is Taste of the Arts in downtown Piqua from 5 until 9 p.m. We have a really, really fun event scheduled for the downtown. We have 8 different food operations. We have 11 different demonstrating artists. We have a band coming out of Cincinnati called Hi-Fi Honey. We are very, very excited to bring this event back to the Piqua community. We are hoping for an evening something like tonight. That would be great. And just invite the commission and to come to the event, and also while I'm up here, just thank the city for the amazing support that we get for that event and all the other things that we do downtown. And the 13th season of the Piqua Community Farmers Market kicks off 3 weeks from today. So mark that calendar as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
One thing I forgot is to thank the city of Piqua, the commissioners, all the department heads for making the very difficult decision to go ahead forward to remove the low dam at the Piqua Power Plant. There's a family up in Quincy, Ohio that is mourning the death of their son that happened on New Year's Day at that very low dam. As I've been saying for years now, the number one reason to remove it is it's a death trap. Unfortunately, we had a death. So thank you all for making that tough decision. I know there was some opposition, but it's going to be safer, it's going to be more beautiful, and it's just one of those things. It's the Great Miami River. It's not Great Miami Lake. Okay, it's Great Miami River. Also, I want to applaud the city, Paul Obendorfer's office, Chris's office, Kevin Cringy, Kirsten French, for putting back together a very, very good response back to Columbus, Ohio for ODNR. And that was very well put together, and I read through it, and I think it's going to move some things over there, and I'm hoping that it will. Thank you very much.
Jeff, we're talking about the hydraulic.
That's correct. Yeah. I saw the 29-page initial rough draft response, and it hits on all cylinders. It hits on everything, and I'd like to see their face over in Columbus when they read that. But these guys are standing on very firm ground.
Maybe you
my
would.
opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
I have a request between now and Monday night. You just heard from Andrew and Jeremy. They took a risk. They took a risk and bought the building across the street. There's nothing, he's put $250,000 in it right now. It's of no use right now to them. They can't get people to look at it because there's nothing to look at across the street. Crooked Handle took a risk and they invested more than $1 million into our downtown. Two, sorry.
Claim it.
Please. We need to take a risk.
Yeah.
And it's worth the risk because the payoff eventually, after the completion, with these guys who I had a conversation with before the first bid, the second bid went out, I think, that they wanted their name on this project, and they fought really hard to get their name on this project. God, I hope it happens, please. So between now and Monday, consider the risk that has been taken by already 2 businesses that are present in the room tonight asking for your vote.
Thank you. Well said, thank you. Anyone else?
Debbie Stein, 1810 Carroll Drive, and I'd like this to go on record. I know that these 2 gentlemen are very honorable. Chris worked with them to get their building, and if I'm understanding right, they are going to be the contractors and help the city.
Propose.
Proposed.
Does anyone see or feel that this whole thing could be a conflict of interest whatsoever? And I know they're great guys. They bought the building, Chris helped them buy the building, and now the city is hiring them to do the work on, consulting work on
No one
Lock
else
Nine
is
project.
bidding on it. No one else is wanting to do the work on it.
Well, that really doesn't matter. I just want to have that go on record to say, it doesn't sound good, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look kosher. So,
Understand your opinion.
yes, thank you.
So I'd like a point of clarification on that. We did have 2 firms respond to doing the construction manager at risk as well as construction manager. So we had competition. It was vetted by a committee and scored with our consulting partner as well. So it wasn't a handshake deal. It's not something behind the curtain. And the illusion of some kind of malfeasance by the city, I find to be offensive. Thank you.
Well, I did not mean to be offensive, but you have to also understand how this appears, and how it looks, and it's not an offense towards you. It's not an offense towards the commission. I'm just addressing what I see, and what I will tell you will be a concern because people will talk about it. So I just want to clarify, or not clarify, but I just want to state how it's going to seem in the community.
So for the
Thanks.
revised
That's your
code
opinion.
purposes, or for the state of Ohio purposes, conflicts of interest would occur if commissioners were involved or any employee were involved in the construction process, if it was their firm or anything like that. Having a third person who owns property in town bid on a project does not create any conflict at all, according to Ohio law. Whether the property was across the street or up on Park Avenue Hill, we've had people, various areas of town bid on projects. Just because this project happens to be near one of theirs does not create a conflict for legal purposes.
Thank you
Any other
for
comments?
the clarification.
I'd like to add one thing. In regards to the last comment, I think one of the goals of any community is to hire local.
Yeah. we
Amen.
like that.
Amen.
We like that.
We went through, per the Ohio Revised Code, the correct way to bid the project, and I'll be totally honest, when the project first came out,
You said no, yeah.
I didn't really want anything to do with it. I would have loved it if another qualified contractor would have come into town and scooped this thing up, and I had a beautiful park across the street from my property. That would be great. There was no other interest. I mean, I'm sure all of the information is public knowledge. We went
It
through
is.
the entire process, by the book, to the T, and they have hired a local contractor to do the project, and that money will be reinvested in the local community.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you. And I will say that there's a community near us, and one of the ways, and it's not Troy or Sydney, so don't start thinking that, but one of the ways that their downtown has thrived is it's all local people that own the businesses downtown. They own the businesses, they are the people who are the landlord for the businesses, they are not people who live in Alaska, as some might, and own business. They are very invested in their downtown. So I agree. I think when we have local people involved, it's going to benefit all of us. This is the place we sleep. This is the place we eat. This is the place that we live. And the more we can get local people involved and invested in our community, the better our community will be and the more we will move forward. So again, thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? All right. We'll have the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I just wanted to bring to light the artwork that's on the wall over there, and it says Piqua, building an inclusive, innovative, and collaborative community. I can't read that far away. To move the people of Piqua forward. And so last Saturday, we met as a team, the elected governing body and the city administration, the leadership, and we had a strategic planning retreat to talk about what makes our community really great and how do we want to get there. And the consultant told us that it's very rare that you find a governing body and an administration that all have the same vision. And that vision showed up by the use of their interpretive artists that they brought along. And if you see the one picture on the A, it's got the river. And so the river does have a lot of impact, positive impact in the community. And it was just a really great session to sit down. And I've worked different localities to have, really forward motion in terms of taking a strategic plan that binds what the people want to how the administration's going to get it done. So when that document comes out, we're going to have a roadmap that ties the comprehensive plan to the budget. And we'll be able to see and demonstrate to the public that we're making good headway. To answer some of the things about transparency, I found a post this afternoon that was on Facebook, and it was an email from Darren Yingst, and he had some questions about the project. And I thought, what better way to have FOIA than to tell everybody what the FOIA is and explain it. So I'm going to take that into my report to do that. So he had asked all costs of property purchases for the project. The properties need to be listed individually with the purchase price. Well, there was only one, and that was $290,000. All the costs of demolition of said properties, and that was $50,000. The cost of all work performed on the canal over the 4 years, so that would be $750,000 in design and environmental work, $600,000 in utility undergrounding, and $80,000 in the retaining wall to get Crooked Handle open on time. He also would like to know the cost of remodeling the building for Crooked Handle. Well, I really can't answer that. That might be you guys, but it's a private investment, so I would say zero, to be fair. The cost of the bridge that's being installed, the price of the bridge, contractors' costs, and the cost of prep of the area. So the pedestrian bridge is $1,693,000 total construction cost. Of that, the city's local match is only $397,240.
Yeah.
So we've leveraged, again, using grant funding and the state to really put in more than half of the share on that. He also wanted to know the amount the Crooked Handle pays monthly, which to the city is zero, unless you want to. We'll take your income tax. And then finally, the total budget for Lock 9 Park, which when you look at the construction budget and the contingencies, it's about $5.8 million all in. 2.2 of that is approximately what the grant funding will look like. And so the delta on that is really what we're talking about this evening. And so if you fast forward to, say, March of next year and the project's complete, really where we're going is we have a delta between what we have available and what the project costs of $3.1 million. And so we're working on finance plans to make sure that we have those resources and that the temporary drain down of the general fund will be replenished at some point forward. And I'd like to follow that up with the fact that our city departments are very good at being austere on things, and they don't spend frivolously. So we're going to also, shake the couch cushions and find all the quarters, but by God, we're going to build this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, turning to commissioners' comments. Vice Mayor Lee.
Well, I want to thank everybody that came out tonight and everybody that spoke. People spoke their minds and their opinions, and I appreciate all input. It's all good. That's how a city works, We're open. We are transparent. People don't like to believe it, but we are transparent. Ask questions, and we will answer them. We understand how government works. And for the people who want to invest in our city, Crooked Handle, who has already done so, you guys have already done so. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we want this to be a destination place. We want this to be a place that I can finish growing old. I'm getting there. I get the gray. And have grandkids go down to Lock 9 and enjoy it, and especially Crooked Handle, because
Were they carded?
oh, that's me, Crooked Handle. They're down at Lock 9. I'm at the Crooked Handle. We want the people who live here to appreciate it, and we've been trying to finish this, and it takes all of us, and we're not all on the same page, and that's okay. But we'll all get there together, because this is a community, and we have to work together to get there. So we're going to do what we got to do, and we're going to listen to people and understand where people are coming from. And we may not agree at the end, but we got to get this done, bottom line. This weekend is supposed to be a really nice weekend. It's going to be in the 70s. People are going to be out on bicycles. And if I don't see Jim Hemmert out on a bicycle somewhere, I'm going to be disappointed. He'll be out there, won't you? Yes, he will. So please be careful, people on bicycles, and enjoy the weather, and just be cautious. We're getting near the end of the school year. I know that Top 100 is coming up next week, Wednesday. Yeah, I've got two, huh? Daria, you better say that, or I'm gonna tell her you said it wrong. My niece, who lives with me, got it. My son's got it for the second year, and my niece got it for the third. So, yeah, she's fervently working on a speech, and we look forward to that. It's a great thing. I've been fortunate to have all my kids have it at one point or another. It's a great thing. And then, of course, the graduation's coming, both Lehman and Piqua, so that's coming up. So be mindful of that as well. But everybody here in this room loves their city, loves where they work, live at, and wants what's best. And we may not agree on how to get there, but we got to get there together. So with that said, I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A couple of notes. Had the privilege of talking with Chris Measing and Taylor Browser today about what I called a first-time homebuyers project for the city. And as I learned from the meeting, it's a much bigger project than that. We're not quite ready to entertain phone calls and those kind of things, but we are looking into a project which I think would certainly benefit my ward, and I think the whole city. So an interesting project that you'll hear more about in coming days. A note that the celebration for Juneteenth, I think, has been moved to Thursday, June 15th. And the time, I don't think we have settled.
Haven't said it yet. I think it's after 5. It's the third Thursday. We're going to be part of that.
Yeah, part of the third Thursday downtown project, so that's coming up. I saw an article in the paper where the Child Abuse Interview Center, Isaiah's Place, is now open, and I think as a city, we contributed some money to that project, as did other communities in our area, so that's a positive thing, and I think hopefully we'll get some information back about that. Last commission meeting, I made comment about the city of Cedarville and their interesting experience with having about a third as many cats as they have people that live in the whole city. I'm continue to be concerned about feral cats and the cats that get run over in my neighborhood because they run across the street. So I'm hoping that at some point we can find some way to maybe do a survey of communities in our area who have expressed the same concern. I know that it's not an easy solution, but we can certainly look and see what's been done in the past in other places, because we have a problem, and I think we need to take a peek at it. And for me, it starts with a survey, just to see what other communities have done. And the last thing, my last comment is, I went into the strategic planning meeting last week with moans and groans, believing that my yard needed to be mowed, and I was being denied the opportunity to somehow take care of my yard. But I came out of the meeting feeling very, very good. It was a good meeting, positive. I've participated in several of those meetings in different locations, and this was by far the best, and I really am happy that I did it, and I think the community will benefit from that.
Great. Thank you very much. Commissioner Heitzman.
Thank you. I am very thankful for the opportunity to be in that meeting, even though I was in Oregon. It was quite early in the morning there, but it was a great experience. And the last time I did that, I mean, it was just, even though I was not officially in the room, but the feeling of camaraderie, the feeling of good energy moving forward, and what we were able to come up with was really, really good. So I am excited as to how that meeting went, and the beautiful visual that we now have to look at. So that's wonderful. Just a reminder, as Vice Mayor Lee said, we are at the end of our school year. This weekend is a busy weekend, and it's beautiful weather. It's Cinco de Mayo on Friday. We have Derby Days on Saturday. Saturday is also the high school prom. So just be aware that there'll be a lot of people out and about, and especially on roads and et cetera. So we just want to be aware of that. And just all of the activities that are happening in May. This starts up, I like to say, our festival season with Taste of the Arts and so many other things that are happening. May is Bike Month. This is the month that we get our bikes ready and we get out and hit the path. So I encourage people to get out and enjoy this beautiful community. I continue to say, I moved here in 2008. My son now is off at college. We have chosen to stay here. And it's a great place where you can get on a bike path, you can get on the river, you can hike, you can do so many things, and all you got to do is go right out your back door. So just get out and enjoy our community, because the weather is beautiful and our community is as well. So thank you.
May the 4th be with you.
And may the 4th be with you, yes.
Sorry.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and we appreciate your comments. We've got great challenges ahead of us, but we're going to get there, and this is going to be such a great thing for our citizens in Piqua and our growth of our town that we've always been talking about. So that's all I had for this evening. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you for coming.